Hello, Jaco. Patrick again from Patrick Damore Golf Instruction. Thanks for sending me your second rendition of your changes. I'm going to go through this your summary of what we try to change from the last lesson to this lesson. Then I'm going to hit on some things that we need to work on for the future work. Last time I had you work on your setup position at address, and specifically to get your upper body more vertical and closer to on top of the golf ball at address, because essentially that's where we kind of wanted it to impact, and it looks like you've done that, which is really good. In the past, let me get your other one up here for a second. There we go. Now you remember this picture. Here's your setup position at address, and you can see you're much more on top of the golf ball now, which is a very good thing. And basically that encourages, doesn't really create, but it encourages a better impact position, which as you can see here, very good impact position. That's a huge change, Jaco. I commend you on that, because that's not an easy change. I know my drills are effective, but that's really a good change at impact on the left. If I were to put the center of gravity yours, probably more so in this area, is about where you are at impact for your center of gravity, and you can see that's ahead of the golf ball in relation to address, and that's basically every freaking tour pro out there is kind of like where you're at right now, which is good. Conversely, a month ago you had this impact position going on, which isn't nowhere near as good as it is now. So that's a huge change you made, and that's good. Now, making these physical changes is one thing. That's kind of the easy part, believe it or not. Mentally, though, it's much more difficult to accept and trust your changes. And that involves a lot of bad golf shots, a lot of where these going to go this time kind of thoughts, and that's what happens when you change. You lose confidence, you lose your trust and stuff. But keep doing the motions, keep doing the drills, and eventually this change you're making is going to feel normal, or to the point where you won't have to think about it. And I hope you're getting closer to that point. If you're hitting as many balls as you said you are, that's a step in the right direction. Now, let's get into the other fix I had you work on. That was our hips. You have a tendency to slide the hips on the takeaway instead of rotate them. And we're going to get your other picture up again, because that's how we compare these things. Alright, let's get you into the setup position now. Again, your other swing from a month ago, I'm going to kind of click through this thing a touch, and boom, there you go. You've slid off the ball maybe 3 inches. Now let's get over here to the left and see what happens. Hardly any move at all off the ball. You tried to, but I see you're working on it and it stopped, which is real good. Again, that's going to help encourage a better weight transfer. Essentially, when you swing the club properly, your center of gravity travels this way on the backswing and this way on the forward swing. And with the hip movement you had over here on the right a month ago, it's tough to do that. So that's a very good change, long story short. And I'm liking what I'm seeing here. This is all really good stuff. Now, let's get into your finish position here. There's your impact position. That's really good. I'm going to put a line on top our front post, which is our left leg. That's the wrong line. Let's put that up there again. Here's your front post. Okay. And well, let's get rid of everything else. Try this again. Here's your front post. And basically, as you come in impact, you're planting against that left leg to a point where you're just beyond impact. And from this point in time, the body, put that up there again, the body will start rotating, the upper body I should say, this way correctly if you do it properly. And you've kind of gone beyond that. In your situation, you've let that upper body just keep going this way till you're done with the golf swing, which is something we got to fix. But truth be told, if we're going to err on the side of this instead of erring with the weight going back this way, obviously. And let me get you to the finish position here. Clear out our lines. One check I have at the end of the finish swing is right shoulder right hip, left toe all in the same line. As you can see, that's not necessarily the case with your swing. Now, previously, you had a pretty good finish position. Let's look at it again. There's our level shoulders and our vertical position here, which is real good. And we need to get closer to that. And again, all that's going to enable, or all that's going to have us try to do is, when we get to impact, we're moving into our front post, and just teach your body to rotate around, not keep lunging this way. If we keep lunging that way, you're going to lose club head speed, and that will happen. If we can post up against that left foot or left side and then rotate through, you're going to see a lot more speed and torque, so to speak, with your core. But again, if we're going to err on the side of what you're doing right now, and that's too much shift. Too much shift is better than not enough shift 8 days a week and twice on Sundays. So, in any event, changes you made from last month are really good actually. And I'm going to give you something to work on for this next coming session. Let me picture up of you first and foremost, and with the here's what I see now in your current action, and we're going to get into a position on why this is happening. Yeah, hold on, that's the wrong one. Let's go over here to the left. There's your setup position. We're going to get you about halfway back. What I see is this. Your shoulders kind of stop right there. Your shoulders have stopped rotating. And from this point on to the top of the swing, the only thing that's happening is the hands are just getting lifted upwards. And it creates compensations. If the shoulders keep rotating around, these hands and arms will find themselves in a much better position at the top. Now let's go over here to the right. I'll show you what I'm looking at here. Let's get over to here. You rotate, you rotate. Now right there, the shoulders have kind of stopped. Let me put a line up here real quick. That's about where your shoulder turn is, and you're young and look like athletic, so there's probably no reason why you couldn't continue your shoulder turn, other than you might have an injury that you're favoring, but I think you told me you really didn't. And let's continue the swing here. As you can see, the shoulders really aren't moving, just you're lifting the hands and arms upward. And again, that'll get you into problems. And here's the big problem with all this. Now I'm going to get you at the top real quick. I'm going to put our swing plane line up. Okay, it's kind of your plane right there, Jaco. Let's get you halfway down. Right there. Left arm is parallel to the ground. I'm going to put a line up here and show you where the shaft position is, because this is important. It kind of ties into, you said your misses are now pull hooks. That makes kind of sense because you get the shaft laid down instead of more vertical. When that arm is in that position on the forward swing, about parallel to the ground, your shaft should be pointing at the golf ball, and it's really not. As you can see, it's way out in front, which means that shaft is way too much down here, way too shallow. When you come in shallow, again, that creates too much of an angular impact position, which means you got to fix it with the arms and forearms at impact. And you do that by rotating the forearms and hands, and if your timing's good, you'll hit it straight. If not, you'll hit pushes or sharp hooks. And let me get you back there again to that one position we were looking at just a minute ago. Let's curl these lines off. Let's get you to the top first and foremost. We're going to get our swing plane line up there. Let's get you underneath it now. Now we're going to get another person up here. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. Guy with a pretty good golf swing. Let's find him. There he is. Perfect. First trance, I found him. Let's get his swing plane line up there. Yeah, I guess we got to get him to the top first, don't we? There's his swing plane. Now we're going to bring Justin Rose down a bit. He's arguably got one of the better golf swings out there for sure. He gets the club a little under, but you're going to see when I say under, I'm nitpicking. His left arm is about vertical now to the, or horizontal to the ground. Let's get this. Let's get a shaft line up here. Not too bad. Whereas yours, oops, we hit the wrong button there. Let's get back there again. Yours is way too far out over this way. A little too flat, so to speak, or shallow. And again, I already told you what that happens. Now, why do we get in that position? That's the big thing. Why is it happening? I'm going to show you in a nutshell why this all happens. Let's get you to the address here. Your takeaway needs to be fixed, and this is some of your medicine for this coming up session you're going to be working on. We got to fix your takeaway. You know, 90% of the problems can be attributed to a bad setup, or I should say an improper setup or an improper takeaway, and that's true in your case. Right now that shaft is about parallel to the ground, and if I'm going to put up a target line here, let's say it's somewhere out there in Straightville. Let's try that again. Somewhere in that direction. Your shaft right now is pointing, I would venture to say, somewhere in there. It shouldn't be. It should be parallel to that target line. Your toe line, your knee line at address, this all should be parallel to your target line. Looks like your shoulders are. That's good. When your club shaft on the backswing gets to parallel to the ground, you have this club head too far inside. Alright, that's your club head right there, and right now that club should be somewhere in this position. It's what we call hitting our parallels. When you start your takeaway such that the shaft is parallel to the ground, the club face should be in the toe up position, which yours looks like it is, right about there. But it also should be parallel to your target line, the club shaft that is. And I'm going to show you something here on the right. I have a drill on my website. It's called the early wrist set drill. And I want you to watch it, and I want you to kind of eat, sleep, and drink it, because it's very pertinent to what we're going to fix here. If you can get the club taken away from the club properly, that breeds a whole host of good actions after it. If you take the club away from the ball improperly, that breeds a whole host of compensations after it. Okay? As you can see on my takeaway, my club head and shaft are pointing right down the target line. Here's the target line, somewhere in that direction. As you can see, you can't even see my shaft because it matches up to my target line. It's parallel to it. Yours is a little bit too far inside. When you do the takeaway properly, the toe is in the toe up position, which mine is, and so is yours for that matter, but your shaft is too far this way. We got to get it more out here. And there's a drill at my website again. It's called the early wrist set drill. I want you to watch that in its entirety, incorporate that into your golf swing, because it's going to help. Now, if we can do that, if we can get the hand set properly, that's going to encourage a little bit more upright swing on the backswing. I shouldn't say upright. It's going to encourage a more upright shaft position, and that's what we're looking for in your case. All right? Instead of the laid off position. This golf club ideally should be more over here. Instead, yours is, we call it laid off. Of course, once it's laid off, you gotta somehow fix it on the downswing, and you try to anyways. Come in too far from the inside, and then you gotta bowed left wrist. These are all compensations. I mean, left wrist is not, I'm exaggerating that, but it's a little bit on the shut side, and it has to be because that club head is attacking the ball too far from the inside. And your good shots will be good, your bad shots will be probably quick hooks or even push fades. Alright, so your next order of business is two things. Number one, let's control that upper body move through the ball. When you get to that position, just have this upper body rotate around that post. Don't have it keep coming this way. That's going to encourage better club head speed. I'm assuming you're moving this way dramatically for two reasons. One, the drill, and two, you're afraid of that left shot. So you figure if you move down the target line, it's going to go a lot less left, which is true. But again, you got two wrongs making a right. Number two, do the drill. I'm going to put this in motion now. It's an early wrist set drill. Once you get set up, you set the hands early such that when it's parallel to the ground, the shaft is parallel to the ground. It's also parallel to your target line, and the club face is in that toe up position. And I have this drill at my website in its entirety. But Jaco, a lot of changing, a lot of improvements, and let me give you some advice. Physically, it's easy to change. Mentally, it's much tougher because you know, we're conditioned to where if we don't see good shots immediately, we give up on stuff, and that's part of change. You know, you make changes, and eventually these changes are all for long-term improvement. I hope you've already seen some, but if you haven't, just stick with it. It will happen. Again, early wrist set on the backswing, and we're going to tame down our forward weight shift position, as you can see right there. That's what I want you to work on. Jaco, thanks, and if you got any more questions, just drop me an email. Thank you.